Hi, welcome to another episode of Robbie the Painter. I'm Robbie. This is episode number 4, or as I like to call it, episode 3, extended cut, 3D.
No.
Not 3D. No. Okay, extended cut, no 3D. Anyway, I thought we would do something different today. If you painted along with me yesterday, we did episode 3, and we had this landscape painting here. And what I thought we would do is add to it. And we're going to call that episode 4. And I've got some cool ideas. If you follow along with me yesterday, you'll notice that there's some new stuff that I put in after the cameras. After I shut the cameras off, I couldn't help myself. I saw this and I saw that, and I started adding stuff. So what I want to do is first, got our paint palette, same colors as we were using yesterday, and I'll run those across the bottom if you didn't follow along yesterday, so you get caught up. And I want to come up here and tell you a little bit about what I added from yesterday's painting to today, and then we'll add more to that. So I think we left off yesterday's painting. We added some shadows underneath these pine trees. What I ended up doing was I took some of the lighter color, a little bit of white, a little bit of Indian yellow, and I came up here and I added some to these hills. I came down here on this hill and I added a little bit there. I darkened up underneath the tree lines a little bit, added a little green, a little bit of brown and green mix. Then I took, I think it was just straight dark sienna, and added a little paint thinner to thin it. And I put in some little trees with the branches, no leaves on them. And then another tree here on the right-hand side. And that was pretty much what I did, but it added a lot of detail to the painting. So with that in mind, as I like to say, I've got more ideas for this. So if that sounds like fun, if you painted along with episode 3 that I filmed yesterday, paints are still wet on my paint palette. I just cleaned up my paint palette where I had been mixing stuff. Let's come up here. As I stood back and looked at this, and I was adding the stuff that I told you about, I see this little light area here that runs between the pine trees. And I thought, boy, that looks like a walking path to me. And so what I thought we would do is let's take our fan brush. Let's really make that look like a walking path. So we're going to come into some titanium white, little Indian yellow. We're going to lighten this up. Actually, bring in some brown, dark sienna, and I'm going to pull this out into the center. And grab some more white. We're going to lighten this. We're going to work on this path that I am seeing in my mind. So if you painted along with me yesterday and you have something similar because you tried to do the exact same thing, then this will all make sense. If your little hills in that had a different they went up where mine went down, or they went down, or if you're seeing a little path, you can add this in. Even if you don't have this and yours is dark all the way at the bottom, you can do this and add in a little path. So we're going to grab some of this color and see what I've got. Okay. So what I'm going to do is, because this side where the pine trees is a little higher, and then we've got this side here, which is high, I'm guessing the path sits in a little valley. So I'm going to take my paintbrush and just come up here and add some of this lighter color. Try to define this path. And I'm kind of doing a little crescent shape. Like from up here where the pine trees are in this ledge, and then kind of crescent, little crescent move here. And maybe our path goes off here. We'll add a little light. Doesn't need to be as detailed over there. All right. I'm going to come through my shadow color here, my tree shadow. That green. I want to define that a little more. I'm going to try not to get into this pine tree too much because I want this pine tree, this big one, to stay on this side of our, the perspective. It's going to be closest to us. Now, this pine tree looks like it's up here close, but watch what we're going to do here. I'm going to push that pine tree back. First, I'm going to scrape off some paint. Oh no. Let's see. I'm going to grab this shadow under. Oh, it's already starting to dry. Okay, well, maybe I'm not going to scrape off. Boy, that dried up pretty quick. Okay, in that case, I'm not scraping off paint. We're just going to add our path right over that, and I'll show you what happens here. And I'm grabbing some more titanium white and coming into this dark sienna, a little bit of Indian yellow, a little less Indian yellow. I don't want to yellow this up. I want it more on the just brown and white, a tan color. So let's see, our path comes, I'm going to come underneath this branch of the pine tree. And I'm doing that crescent move with my paintbrush. So kind of in a half circle. And if I haven't stood back, but if we did it correctly, let's stand back. It looks like our path goes right between those two trees and comes towards us. And you notice I got wider here in the corner. The path is tinier here. That gives the illusion that it's coming towards us. It's getting closer. So remember I said we'd get into some advanced techniques later on? Well, I couldn't help myself. I wanted to continue on this painting. I liked what I was seeing, and I was seeing some other things. So I told you that I added these little stick trees and that. Let's grab our liner brush, and we're going to dip into some paint thinner, and let's go into this same color we were just using, the darker brown, kind of a medium color brown. We're just going to run our liner brush through that, spin it, get it to a point. Let's darken that up. Spin it. And I'll show you what I was doing. We'll add in another tree. And let's come over here, right in here. Come up. Start from the base. And it's just a light touch. Light touch. Grab a little more paint. Let's fatten up this base of our tree. And I always start with the trunk, put my paintbrush in there so I don't get out of get out of the lines, so to speak. And I like to run up the trunk and then figure out where I'm going to branch off. And then I'll make a decision and branch off. But I always start in the trunk. Some people like to do the tiny branches and come down. It doesn't work as well for me. And when I come down to the bottom of this trunk, if you can see this, I just bring and give them a little root, little foot, left to right. You can bring one of them out forward. Maybe he's got 3. And there we go. Now, this one's a little lighter than these others. That's okay. Let's stand back and take a look. Oh, I like that. It kind of stands out. What we can do, like I said, I don't have black, midnight black on here. But what I can use as a substitute, and I do this sometimes, is I use blue. And Prussian blue works the best. If you really want a dark, it even shows up darker than midnight black. I think my phthalo blue will work. Let's try it. I'm going to dip into a little bit of phthalo blue with my liner brush and try to be very careful and come down. Again, our sun is here. If it's shining on all these trees, and you'll notice I put some highlight on these evergreens here, just on one side. Let's say it's darkest on this left side here, away from the sun. So it'd be the shadow side. I'm going to try to stay in the lines and come down that left side. Just about half of the tree. Leave the other side dark. Ooh, I like that. Grab some more phthalo blue, and very carefully, we're just going to try to come over our couple of our branches on the left-hand side. Maybe down the trunk, a little higher. And maybe a little bit here on this. This one here. Okay, we don't need to do much more. We've added a shadow to that side of the tree. That's some of the detail stuff that I was talking about yesterday that we can add to this. Okay, so we've got a path going. We added in a few trees. We need to put a shadow under that tree. If the sun's shining on it, you can see some of these shadows I put in on these trees yesterday. We're going to come right underneath the base of this tree. Just going to add in about the size of the trunk of this tree and come away from the sun. So if the sun is here and our tree's here, you see the way my paintbrush is? I'm going to go ahead and put the shadow that direction too, out this way. And I'm coming over, I'm actually painting over some of my bushes here, but that's okay. We'll fix it. Just want to put a couple branches in to look like that tree. Stand back. Looks pretty good. Okay, we've got a shadow on the ground from that tree. If you like the way that blue looks as opposed to the brown that I used underneath these, you can always go back, dip into your phthalo blue, and come underneath this other tree here and go over your shadow area with the blue. It shows up a little bit better, makes it a little darker. And there we go. I like it. I put some little tiny shadows. If your tree's smaller, obviously your shadow is going to be smaller that you put underneath your bushes, your trees, and that kind of thing. Okay, before we get any farther, I want to come back over here right next to this path and underneath this tree. I want to darken that up. So I'm coming into some phthalo blue, and we're going to darken the base of this tree. We're going to come up here into the trunk of it and just add a little bit of phthalo blue in a couple spots. Define his little foot area a little more. And I'm going to come over the path just a little bit with this blue, making the shadow of this tree. Coming out just a little bit more. We're going to stand back. And add where you think it needs to add. I just want to make it look like the shadow is as wide as the tree is. So it looks consistent here. I like it. I like it. I like it. I like it. Okay. Let's grab some more phthalo blue. Let's come over to this tree. I know I've already got my signature on here. Probably going to go over that. Let's add a little dark to the trunk. And let's just darken up this shadow of the tree. And come right down here through my signature. And I think the shadow is going to trail off that way. Be consistent. Kind of all the shadows are kind of leaning towards the left. I want to keep that here. Now I'm going to come just a little bit of phthalo blue. Don't want to mess this up too much. Come underneath this pine tree and over the edge of our path just a little. Let's darken that up just a little more. All right. I like that. While we're at it, let's just darken up all these shadows. We got a pine tree evergreen over here. Darken up his trunk. Come underneath. And put a little shadow there for him. Okay, next thing we're going to do is, I did a painting a few years ago. A friend of mine has it hanging in his house now, and it had some hot air balloons in the painting. And that was the main focus of that painting. And I had one that was really big in the foreground. We're not gonna focus on the hot air balloons, but I want to put a couple, I thought, up here in the sky. Let's grab a fan brush And let's use titanium white. I've got a little bit of tan over here on it. It's a dirty white. Doesn't matter. I want to get the outline of the balloon. So we're going to come up here, pick a spot, and twist our fan brush to make a circle. Just so we can see the outline. Somewhat round. We're going to grab our liner brush now and come into that same dirty white and get some paint on our liner brush. And we're going to come over to this edge of our balloon and come down in this edge and come down. Grab some more paint. We're just putting a background color for our balloon right now. And we're going to stop. It's going to look like a light bulb shape. That's what we're looking for. Shape of a light bulb. There, we've got a balloon in the sky. Well, kind of. Not yet. We will right now. Okay. We're going to make our balloon maybe 3 colors. In my original painting, I did blue, red, and yellow with some white in there. So let's go ahead and clean off our liner brush. I think we're going to be doing liner brush work for a little bit here, a little more detailed. We're going to come up into our phthalo blue. And we're going to come up here near the top of our balloon, trace around that outside, getting skinnier as we get near the bottom. We'll clean this up as we go. Let's grab some more blue. And in this middle part, we want it to be thicker. Okay. I think we're gonna call that good. Just gonna clean up this edge. Right there. Okay, let's wash our brush. Let's put another color on. We're not going to spend a whole lot of time. I say that, and then I go back and I detail stuff. But I'm going to try to get through this real quick to show you guys how to add some other elements to a painting you thought was already finished. That's the whole idea of this episode, the continuation of episode 3. This is episode 4. And let's go into our bright red. We didn't use that yesterday, although we had it on our palette. On the liner brush, bright red. And we're going to come up here to the top, right where the center point where we started our blue. And we're going to trace around our shape with red. I picked up a little bit of white. I'm going back into the red. To get that white off there, I want this to be as red as possible. We're going to fatten up this center. Okay, let's wash off the red off our liner brush. Dry that on a paper towel. Let's come into our cadmium yellow. And we are going to start right in the center point. This is our third color on our balloon. You can do any colors you want. You can make your balloon all red, all blue, purple, whatever color you like. I just picked red, white, blue, and yellow in the center. And I need to spin my liner brush so it's a little more pointed. I'm going to come up here. and come straight down through the center. And I'm spinning my brush as I go down to make sure that I get yellow. It's not showing up real good yet. Dip into some more yellow. All right, I think we're gonna say that that's good. Oh no, I'm getting white paint all over my sleeve. I bought this set of liner brushes, and that's all that's in this little zip case is liner brushes, and I've only used like 2 out of them. But I think it was like $25 for this whole set, so that wasn't bad. Anyway, I've got this little pointy one here because we are going to add a basket now underneath a balloon. If it's a balloon ride, somebody has to sit in something or stand in something to take the ride. Let's move on to the next balloon. Same idea. Let's make our shape. So I'm going to grab this filbert that I was talking about yesterday. I think we can work with that. I'm just going to go into some of this dirty white to make our second balloon a little smaller. It's farther away. Okay, we've got the outline of it. Let's grab our liner brush, grab some more of this dirty white. Doesn't matter if it's got colors on it. Again, we're drawing the shape of it right now. Let's come down, get our balloon shape, and stick with the liner brush. We can do this balloon here with the same colors. We can reverse them, keeping the same colors, and let's just reverse them. So on this left-hand side, we're going to put in red. Wash off our brush. Right-hand side, let's go with the blue. Let's put our white in first before we do the yellow. So we're going to dip into, when we washed our brush, make sure it's clean. Let's come up here right against the blue without changing the shape of our blue, unless you want to change the shape. I'm going to put our white in. Not too bad, not too bad. All right, let's wash off the white. Let's get a good amount of yellow, cadmium yellow on here. Let's come down the center. Getting wider in the middle. Just kind of gets fat in the middle. You can make yours any shape you want. You can come straight down. You could do, the reason why we come around is to give the impression that it's a balloon. It's round. There. I think we're going to call that one good. Let's add a basket. I'm going to switch over to the sharper liner brush. Go into our dark sienna brown. And I'm going to set my palette down. I need to steady my hand. That's still probably not going to help, but we're going to try it. Couple of ropes to hold the basket. Draw the basket in. Darken underneath the balloon. Go into the phthalo blue. We're going to darken this underneath where the balloon opening is. And grab a little more blue. Something that will burn and create the hot air. So we're making a little furnace. That's what that is there. Is a little furnace. Basket opening. And let's wash our brush off. Dip into a little bit of the titanium white. Lighten up this right-hand side of the basket. Okay. We didn't put a fire that's heating up the air for the basket. Let's grab a little yellow, come over here into our red, grab a little white. So red, yellow, and white. Now add a little more yellow. And I'm not going to mix it up too much. I want it to have, the different colors in it. I'm going to come up here and touch there at the bottom. And over to this one and touch there at the bottom. Gives the indication that there's a flame going on. Okay, wash off our brush. We need a very tiny dot to put some people in the basket that we just created. So, let's see. Maybe somebody's looking out this side of the basket. So we put somebody hanging over there. Not very safe. Don't try this at home, please. And then let's put another person's head standing over here. And we're just putting a little dark. You can't really tell that who they are, but you can tell somebody's there. Okay. We could even put they're pointing at something. So the little person's pointing at something. All right. Let's add a little bit of highlight on our balloon. Let's get into our titanium white. Let's come over here and let's about halfway down on our blue side, adding in. Come into our titanium white again. Come over here to the red. Add some highlights, a little more titanium white. Need to get some paint on here, and then I can diffuse it, blend it in. Let's see what that looks like. That's not too bad. I like that. Okay, wash our brush off. Let's go into that brown, dark sienna. We're going to put our dark color, our shadow here on our red side. I'm using brown because I don't know, it just sounds good that I should be using brown on that. Let's wash our brush off, grab some Indian yellow. We'll darken up the shaded parts on the yellow on this, which would be about halfway down. Okay, last one. We're going to put one more in. Let's put a little one right here. And another little one over here. I'm just making a little circle. Not worried about the color that I'm putting on here right now. Remember, I'm just getting our shape. I'm going to use our same colors. Apparently, everybody rented these balloons from the same auto balloon rental place because they're all the same color. Let's go into our blue. Let's do this one over here first. Here on the left. Detail work. These things are getting smaller. It's going to be harder to stay in the lines. You might get frustrated. I might get frustrated. I might turn the cameras on and say, I'm leaving. Probably not, but let's come up here and see what we can do. All right, let's add our blue in. And go on this left side. Come into our red. And it's bright red is the name of this oil paint. It's like a fire engine red. Okay, getting too much paint on there. Wash our brush. A lot of washing and cleaning our brushes. We haven't done this much brush cleaning ever on any of the episodes in all the years. Oh, that's right, I just started. It's only the 4th episode. All right. We've got 4 balloons. It's a balloon ride. And we started off with our simple landscape painting on yesterday's episode number 3. And if that's where you stop, that's fine. I just wanted to show you, let me set this down. I just wanted to show you, sometimes you think your painting's finished and it's not. And you can go back and add highlights and details and, lighting on the top of your hills. And we made a path where there wasn't a path. I saw a path because it was light right there. And then now we've got a path leading somewhere. We don't know where. And we've got some balloons in the sky. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you so much for spending your time with me. I'll see you on the next episode. God bless.